Unplugged Live. I am your host for this evening. It is not Amy McCorkle. My name is John Spalding. I'm from G1NBC Live in G1NBC, Cuyahoga County. Also the production assistant, production person for Recovery Unplugged.
You're one of the producers because you run it every time
I am the producer. I'm a co-producer. I'm the yes. Digital producer. You're the content producer.
Yes.
For Recovery Unplugged.
Missy's the big P.
All right. Is Missy taking a big P, or is she going to be joining us tonight?
I asked her if she would, but originally we thought it was going to be on Monday night, and I completely forgot to ask her.
That's my fault. That was totally my fault. So, all right. So listen, what we're going to do, we're going to hop right into it. And we're going to I'm going to be interviewing you.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about all things Letters to Daniel, or all things Healing Hands Entertainment as far as updates and getting people what they need to know. But I do have some kind of quick questions to kind of kick it off, and
okay,
we'll see how you react. So, tell the audience a little bit. Let me make sure that everyone's unmuted here. Okay, you are. Tell the audience a little bit about yourself and kind of your upbringing and your life before the venture, before the decision to leave and go and pursue your dreams.
Well, I always was wanting to pursue my dreams. In my early 20s, I met Missy, and we would always bring in something that we had written previously for the other one to read.
Okay, so you guys were always pursuing that passion of writing.
I was, because I wanted to publish books. Then Missy approached me one day about a year into working at B. Dalton's. We weren't friends. We were friends at work.
Mm-hmm.
Really hang outside together outside of work. We didn't write together. We just would be readers for each other. And about a year, into working at B. Dalton Booksellers, which was a division of Barnes & Noble,
excuse me,
she said, how about we write a romance novel together? Now, considering I cut my teeth writing romance novels eventually, I was a total snob. And I said, oh, let's do it for the money. And we wrote the god-awfulest book. And it went on forever. The outline was longer than the book. And when we killed the first character off, we got all weepy and emotional, but we knew we had made a mistake when we killed another character off.
What was the name of it?
When Doves Cry. We actually ended up writing a television pilot. But we ended up killing off a second character, but then we couldn't stop laughing about it. And we knew we had turned wrong somewhere in the story. We would drink too much Big Red RC, eat cherry pulling peels.
I don't know what those are.
Do you know what Twizzlers are?
Yep.
They're the cherry flavored ones that you can pull apart and eat. Right. And they're called pull and peel.
Got it.
So we wrote, she would say, I said, when she came over on Sunday nights, I said, we have to wait until after the X-Files goes off. And she didn't know whether or not she wanted to do that. I said, that's the only stipulation I have, because I was already addicted to it. So, but she ended up liking it. But then we found an ad in the back of around 1998. We found an ad in the back of Writer's Digest magazine that said film school for writers. And I thought, well, maybe I thought, oh yeah, we could go. We can learn to direct. No, actually, it was a screenwriting course by Michael Hay. I didn't know what a big deal that was. He's considered one of the top script consultants in Hollywood.
Okay.
And
which is why he's able to buy an ad in the back of a magazine.
Actually, Hollywood Film. Actually, Dove S. Simmons did. And we went to his workshop too.
Okay.
And we did this, and then about 1999, we went to the writing workshop, and that one was in April of '98, the weekend of the Final Four.
Was Kentucky in it?
Kentucky won it. And then in January of '99, we took the film school workshop, which was Dove S. Simmons, and he famously said they said, and he was like a former Green Beret, so his voice was very military, and he goes, "You'll get used to the sound of my voice." And I was like, "Oh hell no, I won't, because you're just too mean." But he said, they said, you know how they say, those who can do,
yep,
those who can't teach.
Yep.
And he says, and pretty much that's true, because he was a line producer on a film. He worked for Roger Corman. And like everybody famous has worked for Roger Corman, it seems.
I have no idea who that is.
You don't know who Roger Corman is?
No, I told you. You when we first started working. I'm like, Amy, I do not know, or because you name drop famous people like it's your job, right? And like I know nothing of the industry. Like I am this rogue, independent, smart mouth broadcaster who like. I don't know. I don't even know who that is.
World.
I have no idea. And you know what? I think other people wonder that too, and they're like, you don't belong here.
Well, we all liked having you on today.
So who is he?
He is a famous producer of B movies.
Okay.
And a lot of Jack Nicholson was famously in his version of what's it? It's Little Shop of Horrors. He did it was like in the 1950s. Jack Nicholson famously got his start in that movie. Ron Howard famously directed a Roger Corman movie.
Oh, wow.
So like really a lot of big people that I could name that would be recognizable had made their way through the Roger Corman School of filmmaking. He gives them their break, their start, and then they go from there. So we went to these workshops, and then we wrote.
So you went to these workshops before you guys decided to before you took your journey.
Yeah.
Okay.
This was, how long ago was it? 20 years ago. We started writing together
21, 22.
We met in 96.
That's 23 years ago.
We started working together in 97. And writing together.
Yeah.
And so we would watch movies late at night. We would write. I would make, and you could tell I was already feeling the effects of the bipolar disorder, right? Because Missy kept an impossible schedule, and I really showed no mercy to her. She was working 2 jobs at the time we started writing together. She was working at UPS, and she was working at B. Dalton. She worked all day at B. Dalton. She worked like 12 she would work crazy hours, and then she would already have worked a full day's worth and then some, and then come to my house, and usually we would write until about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, but as I got sicker, I drove her to write longer and longer and longer. And we were writing like 23, 24 pages a night.
And when you say you drove her, you mean like it was like you wouldn't let her leave?
Yes. And I mean, there were signs that something was clearly wrong because one night she was just exhausted, right? Any regular human being would be exhausted with the hours that we were keeping,
Right.
and except me. But I wasn't a normal human being. I had bipolar disorder.
And you
and it wasn't
you didn't know that you had it before?
Well, okay. So, full confession, when I was 19 and was living with a fucked up family in New Mexico with my ex-boyfriend's family who made it, yeah, they were just no. And I went to a therapist to see I was having trouble sleeping.
Okay.
And I didn't know why. Like I would stay awake all night, and then I would finally get to sleep, and then they would want me to get up 3 hours later, and I was not functioning. So I go to the therapist, and she says, "I don't think that this is what's hurt. I think you have bipolar." She didn't say that because it wasn't called that then.
Mm-hmm.
She said, "I think you have manic depression." And then the people she referenced, Winston Churchill and Patty Duke, I could not relate. Because to me, Winston Churchill was like this genius who had a drinking problem. And Patty Duke, I didn't see where I was like them. I couldn't relate. I couldn't, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I went home, and then I went to my apartment there, and I called a cousin, and she goes, "Oh, all they want to do is pump you full of drugs and all this other stuff." And I was young. I was 18 years old, and I didn't know anything about anything when it came to mental illness. And she scared the crap out of me, and I didn't go back
to the initial person that you were talking to, right?
Yeah,
right.
Right.
I think it's hard, right? It's hard because our families can't have good conversations about mental health. We as a nation don't have good conversations about that, and so young people who you're presented with that, it's hard, right? Because you don't know how to handle stuff like that.
Well, I bought myself at least 5 more years of heartache. It wasn't severe enough. Right? The episodes weren't severe enough to make me think something was wrong with me. But as we were getting ready to move to Texas, and we didn't have enough money to move to LA.
That's you and that's you and Missy.
Yes.
Now, when you're saying you bought yourself 5 more years of heartache, you mean the decision to not go back to the therapist bought you? Right.
In retrospect, I should have gotten down on my knees and kissed her feet because I went through a special kind of hell later on.
Yeah.
I wouldn't wish it on anybody.
Yeah.
And and not only did I go through the hell, Missy was right there in it. You saw it. I mean,
and if anyone is going to watch Letters to Daniel, you'll see that played out for them on the live screen.
Yes, my sister got mad at me. Because she wasn't in the movie.
Uh-oh.
Now she's mentioned, but not by name. But she was actually supposed to be physically in a scene, but we didn't have. You notice we didn't have a lot of actors. We had a lot of actors, but we didn't have a lot of extra people to pull from. And she didn't understand that. And she didn't understand that the decision had nothing to do with the fact that I didn't love her or whatever. She should have been paying attention to how my family gets portrayed in that movie. She might not have wanted. So we go to Texas, and Missy suggests we move to San Antonio. And I said, I don't know, do you mean Austin? Because really Austin is the arts hub. Yep. It's like Louisville in Kentucky.
Oh yeah. There's a concert every night.
There's Louisville and there's the rest of Kentucky. If you go to Texas, there's Austin and then the rest of the state.
Yep.
They're not the same. I mean, I won't get on that box right now, but we went out there and the pressure started almost immediately, and we were going to bed, getting up, and driving into Austin from San Antonio.
Do you think it was the trip? Like, do you think it was the pressure of being out there and that taking that leap together that
I was already
you were already
walking,
there. Yeah, you
I
were
was
already
already
there.
walking
It was
down
just a
that
matter
path.
of time.
It's just it wasn't the fuse had been lit.
Okay.
Like, I had an incident. We were writing at my mom and dad's house, and it was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and she got exhausted and she fell asleep. And I freaked out. I was thinking, and my mom, now mind you, my mom and dad are in the house. My Aunt Sally's in the house. Missy's sitting right there, and there's two cats. But I felt alone, and I freaked out. Right, I was like, oh my God, I don't know how to express it other than I just panicked, and I just started crying. And she jerked away. She said, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" I said, "I'm all alone. I'm all alone." Like in retrospect, the signs were there,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yep.
nobody, yeah, I had checked out books about manic depression, and they would put checklists, and I would say, ah ha ha, I'm all these. And I said, but I
You
didn't
kind of
think,
joked it off.
yeah, I I
Gotcha.
didn't want to self-diagnose myself, and I had completely blocked out that trip.
So can we stay there for a minute? And this is just
Yeah,
me, like this is me, like over the counter shrink, asking a
yeah.
question in line with the interview. What was it? Was it a series of events or what was there a moment, or what is your best memory of when you when you finally kind of came to grips with it and said it to yourself and kind of like welcomed that into your life, for
Okay.
lack of a better term.
Okay. So it it happened. We had a
Who's we?
me and Missy.
Okay.
Whenever I say me, just always
Whenever
assume.
I say we, it's you two.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So there were, I was already having difficulty sleeping at home. Like, I would stay up late, and then I couldn't figure out why I couldn't get myself to go to sleep. And I just figured that I had just drunk too much caffeine, or I had wired myself up, and because Missy could just fall dead to the world, and
Mm-hmm.
it was easy for her. It
Me
was
too.
staying, but it was hard for her to stay asleep. That was her. She woke up a lot.
Okay.
But if I could get to sleep, I could stay asleep. But as the time wore on, the biggest symptom that was something was wrong is that I wasn't sleeping
Okay.
more than 1 or 2 hours a night. And we were in Texas. We were in San Antonio, and we are like, I'm at my breaking point, and I'm glad the sound didn't. For one of the scenes involving me and Missy arguing at Misty Parker's house, that big house
Mm-hmm.
we filmed that.
The one you made look like a small apartment.
Yes. She there was a scene where it's like right before I go to the hospital, and it's like I'm pulling at my hair, and I'm wanting to throw everything, and I can't slow down. Like, I can't stop moving, I can't slow down, and I'm crying, and I'm angry, and it's not anger, it's rage, and I don't know what to do. I don't know where to put these emotions.
Yeah.
And now before that, there had been an argument where Missy tells me, if you think something's wrong, you got to get it checked out. The whole time Missy's pressing me, if you think something's wrong, you got to get it checked out. I'm really just the scene that I wanted to I wanted both of those scenes in San Antonio. But what happened to the second one, the one where we decide to call Rosie and she takes us to the doctor, this is what happened. You hear all the audio of moving around and getting everything set up. Then it goes silent. Then the sound comes back on and you hear me say, "That's good, let's move on." So my audio person did not record the sound.
So you're saying that I randomly just asked you a question, and it happened to be a scene that should have been in the film, but was not because there was no sound.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, another scene where
So
something...
paint the scene. All right, so paint the scene, because they're not going to be able to see it. So then
Okay, so...
you guys were having a conversation. You were really, like, kind of...
Like, well...
You knew that you were full of rage, but you couldn't explain it, describe it, and you knew something was wrong, and they had convinced you to go and talk to someone.
Okay, it's one of those you can't run, you can't hide moments. Because we had an argument before, which precipitated this. It was like more, this is where I was at after that. Because I was, I'm belligerent, until finally I said, "Missy, we've got to call Rosie. I can't do this anymore."
And just for the audience, who is Rosie?
Rosie is my Aunt Rosie, and
Okay.
she is now 76 years old, 80 years. I don't know. She's old. She's older. She's senior citizen now.
And was she always able to, like, talk with you? And
well, she was down there from when we were down. She was down there before us, and she was down there until around Christmas time. And then she moved back to Kentucky. She was down there to brush up on her communication skills with the Hispanic community, because it's
just totally different from when you guys were there. I mean, like, totally different reasons.
Yeah, she was down there as a nun and learning. That's where her ministry was. So she was at the MAC, the Mexican American Cultural Center.
Okay.
And she would take us to do things. She would take us out to eat, so we didn't have to eat spaghetti and hot dogs all the time. So
nothing wrong with that.
Oh, no, nothing wrong with that. And the first scene where I'm having a meltdown, when I'm having a mixed episode, and I'm saying, I feel like what it felt like was my skin was crawling. It just feels like your skin's going to come off your arms, and it is the most ick feeling ever, and you can't stop it until you're through it. You just have, at that point, I was like, that night led to me, I had cried all night. I refer to 8-hour crying jags. Well, one night I was like, "Missy, I can't go back in there to work." She goes, "Well, you're not going to get me to say it's okay not to work." And I just cried and cried and cried. And it wasn't like I was trying to make her feel guilty.
Yeah.
But I couldn't stop crying, and the thought of going back in there just was
too overwhelming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she didn't know what was going on. So all she knows is that her happy-go-lucky friend from Kentucky is now one big hot mess and can be really mean. And so the scene that I had prayed would be there, and Megan did so well too. Megan and Jenny did so well with it. That's the other thing, so she's Megan, who played me on screen, was pacing back and forth in front of the couch and pulling her hair. But in the case of me and Missy, it was an apartment. It was a futon. There was no furniture. There was just air mattresses on the ground.
Right.
So I was pacing back and forth in front of this little 13-inch TV that was sitting on the floor that we watched. And I just wanted, we had 2 of everything, 2 plates, 2 forks, 2 spoons, whatever. And I wanted to take every single dish we had and throw it through the TV screen. And then I knew, I said, I can't go into work. We have to, we have, we have to go. It was like at that point, I couldn't get, I couldn't get away from it. It was like,
Yeah, that was when you knew.
Yeah, I was like, you can't run from this. It's not just going to go away. And I wouldn't write for 5 months after that. And that was probably the most miserable experience of my life, because I wasn't writing at the time. And if I'm not writing, something is like really not well with me.
Gotcha.
And I wanted that back. But at that time, when I went to get help that night, they basically told me it's all in your head. And I was like, well, that's a fucking problem. You need
Never
to
get
help.
mental health services in Texas, huh?
No. It might be Look, it might be better now. It might be better now because it's like got 20 some odd years, but the help, it was.
All right, I got you. So listen, you did all that. We're interviewing Amy McCorkle on Recovery Unplugged. What we're going to do now is we're going to show the trailer for the upcoming feature film. Then we're going to come back and ask some easier, more lighthearted questions. Does that work? That
works for me.
The feature film tells the story from breakdown to bestseller, and it really gives a good dramatic feel for what Amy and Missy, actually for what Missy went through, but also what Amy went through.
Hey, I went through hell too.
No, I'm just kidding. So let's watch this trailer. This is hot off the press, right? This is only a couple weeks old.
Yeah, and it's already got close to 300 views on.
That's fantastic. So here you guys go. This is the Letters to Daniel theatrical trailer, and we're going to watch this. It's about 2 minutes, and then we're going to come right back.
Dear Daniel Craig, life did not always look like this. This marked a moment of triumph, a way of crushing an abysmal past and daring those with a stereotypical view of those with mental illness to challenge me on any front. To many, this was just a documentary. For me and Missy, this was our lives.
Hey, Daddy? Yeah, it's me.
What you doing?
Just working. Missy and I are running low on grocery money, and we would really like to have a Thanksgiving, so I was just wondering if you could maybe send some money.
No.
Why not?
You shouldn't have moved down there to begin with. So no, I'm not going to give you the money.
It's like my skin is coming off. And my thoughts, they're racing so fast. I can't keep up.
I think it's more than just Amy not being at her best. I think something's really wrong.
She thinks you're manic depressive. I, however, do not. I think this is something you've been obsessing on. I believe that it's all in your head.
Crap! You scared me.
Missy,
What's wrong?
I know I'm supposed to go to work today, but I'm scared. I know your name, but I don't know my name. Can you call one for me? Please?
It's okay. I'll call.
I don't regret moving to Texas. I didn't want to move back here.
Come here. Come here.
Close your eyes and go to sleep. Gail Sublett gave me some numbers to call tomorrow. Sleep as late as you need to. We'll get this figured out.
All right, so that was a first look of Letters to Daniel. Nice work.
Thank you. I'll be happier when the music gets put in.
Okay, so then there will be another official trailer released.
Then that trailer will be official, and if the distributors want to cut a different trailer, then they can.
Got it. So, all right. So I know I said I was going to come back. We're going to have some fun or lighthearted questions. Before we do that, give me one thing, and I'm going to ask you proud next. So over the course of where we are, what's one or two things that you wish you would have done differently from kind of to where you are right now?
I wish that I wouldn't have been so trusting of certain people, because some people were just, flaky, and they're not bad people, but, when you're 9 days out from production and they start coming to you with all kinds of drama, and if you bring that to the set, it's going to totally disrupt everything. Mm-hmm. That was the first really big setback, and that was in 2015. And then I signed successively with a liar, a toxic person, then a toxic set of people who said things like, "Oh, you don't look like you have a disability. You don't act like you have a disability." And then I signed with someone who was just really unwell and just not stable and was just a chronic liar. And it set me back. What I do is, instead of saying, "Oh, I wish I would have done things differently," mm-hmm. I don't regret anything, though, because every step I took brought me to where I am now. And the one good thing that the last person who represented me did was she encouraged me to go all in at AOF, and that's where I found Mark, and that's where I found Clint.
Well, I'll tell you what, you had, like, from when I've been a part of Letters to Daniel, what I've seen and what I've known is that despite setbacks, that's one thing you do not do is quit.
No.
You have tenacity. You keep going. When one door closes, you're going and knocking on 3 or 4 more.
Yeah.
So yeah, you did a great job, and like you said, going all out at AOF, and leading into the next question, what as you look back on kind of where you are right now, what makes you most proud of the decisions and the work that you put into getting to where you are now?
It all seemed, the shoot itself seems like a blur, because it was just so fast, and it was just like take. And the only reason we were able to go that fast is because we were hyper organized when we went in. We had such a skilled DP, and our actors were just amazing. Like, we didn't have to do too many more than 1 or 2 takes. Like, one, if they got it, then we get one for safety. My editor was mad at me because I didn't get a lot of extra B-roll mm-hmm. that would have allowed him to like do things, right. But I'm most proud of the fact that I brought the team together that I did, and I worked for it. And I was like everything connects. Like at Indie Gathering, I met Brandon, and I started working with him. Mm-hmm. Well, on that first film set, he had us do interviews that he was going to bring to you. Mm-hmm. And then I met you. You were like a stabilizing force during that time period where everything was like fluctuating.
The flux, right.
And I had people say they had $20,000 for me. I had people, all kinds of bullshit, I had an interview with an individual that you met that was a lot of hot air. She was like, you got to pay to pay. You got to pay to play. And I was like, you're so full of shit.
Yeah.
I was like, just tell me if you're going to do it or not.
Right.
Don't waste my time with double talk. You know, and she wanted to change my film.
Oh yeah. I remember that.
And I was like, okay.
I remember leaving there, and I was like, I really liked them, like, as people.
Yes.
But I was like, these are not executive producers. Like, these are people that want to play executive producers. Like,
they
I
want to be the executive producer who pays money. That's the kind of Aaron Allen, he made me crazy, but he's a good person, and he was really good at
Go ahead.
And he was really good at helping set up to raise money.
Mm-hmm.
And through his network, we pooled our networks, and we were able to raise $2,100, which I've never had before. And then, of course, there was more money that came out of pocket for me and Missy, but it still looks like we spent $100,000 or so on a movie it was just a drop in the bucket of that. See what, the quality of actors, the cinematography, like everybody who saw the trailer, even though I felt I'm not a natural born editor, right? I usually have someone, I'm not good with trailers as a rule, but I feel like that's my best trailer.
Okay.
And I tried to make as many quick cuts as possible, but I felt like, someone came on, like when I put it up there, actually somebody came on, well, you need to do this, this, and this. I said, I'm not looking for all that. It's done. I'm not going to go back. I've already took a stab at it 3 or 4 times, and this is the best result I got.
That so tough? Like so to me, that's one of the toughest parts about being an indie creative or an indie filmmaker is, as a whole and as a society, how nitpicky we are. Like, we're so used to perfection in film and TV and radio that we have no tolerance for people who are learning and growing and doing their own thing.
That's the nice thing. That's the nice thing about 2 of the festivals I attend. One that you've been to.
And one that you're trying to get me to go to?
Yeah, you need to go. You need to come to AOF.
Vegas! Here's my problem. If I go to Vegas, I'm going to get in trouble. I can't go. I can't go to that town without, like, my wife and kids.
Well, like, bring them.
You'll be like, John, you didn't show up for this. John, you didn't show up for this. I'm like, bah.
No, I don't know when the screening's going to be, but I would want you there for the screening and whatever and I would say the 2 black tie dinners. Mm-hmm. I know they're expensive, but I got the feeling that we're going to be nominated for some stuff. And, you've been a part of this.
I know. I know.
Now, Megan and Jenny and Anna Maria are all coming, and me, Missy, and them are going to share a room.
All 5 of you?
Yes.
That'd be.
I shared a room with 4 people at this year.
I might bring my video camera. So that's cool. So tell everyone what you have coming up. What are the next steps for all of Letters to Daniel as far as?
Okay, so 7 distributors are waiting to see the final cut.
Okay.
So it's like, I have a feeling it's not a matter of if we get distributed, it's going to be a matter of what choices I make.
And so what are you doing? So are you choosing which distributors to show it to, or are you just going to send it to all of them?
Some people, I'm going to send it to all of them.
Okay.
All 7, because all 7 are reputable. But some of them I have connections through intermediaries, right? Like a person knows a person, and some people are the distributor. So it's good. And then also a manager wants to see it and then wants to discuss representing me and Missy.
Do we trust these intermediaries?
Yes.
Okay.
This is not a case of how can I put this? This is not a case of the people that let Brandon down.
I was asking that in jest.
Yes.
And maybe a little not. Just
yeah.
in case. But if you say yes, then I know you've done your due diligence.
Yeah, I'm excited.
All right, and you have a screening coming up.
Yeah, it's a test screening.
At Imaginarium.
It's really for showing. But it's a test screening.
It's a test screening. It's not a showing.
Yes.
We're just getting feedback.
Well, yeah,
in case the editor has to make some changes. Come on, I know how this indie game's played.
Also, I have currently, The Guardian.
I do. Do you have a book that you can hold up?
I actually have a proof of concept trailer and 4 teleplays. And those 4 teleplays are copyrighted and are currently being read by a Netflix executive.
What? That's new? That's new from the last time I talked to you. Congrats.
Yeah. It's not a definite. She's just reading them. And if she likes them, she's going to get in touch with my intermediary tomorrow, and we're going to be introduced.
Hot damn.
Oh, I talked to Dell, and Dell was like, "This is your year. You always have big years, but this is your year."
I like it.
Oh, and I also have another book, Something to Believe in.
What's that? Something to Believe in?
That is a story of thriving creatively in the face of serious mental illness.
Didn't we just do a screening of that?
This is the book.
The interview portion?
Yeah.
And that's the book portion.
Yep.
Are they on sale? Is that on sale?
Yes, it's currently on sale. It's on Amazon.
Really?
Yeah, in print, and then on draft to digital. If you go to BarnesandNoble.com, the ebook is available of both.
Okay, so, perfect. We'll take the YouTube version of this video, get me links to those, and I'll make sure that they're included.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, and
that's good stuff. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Who's coming to Imaginarium? Are you having a reunion? You having a cast reunion?
Okay, so
is Doug gonna come and cook for everybody?
Doug's not coming.
Aw.
His wife won't let him.
She found out what you did to him. She found out who you made him sleep with.
Oh, yeah, right. Who? Who did he sleep with?
Well, in the same room with me and Brandon.
Okay.
He didn't sleep with...
Yeah, your bed collapsed, remember?
Yeah, I do, Amy. I do. I remember. 2:30 in the morning. Kaboom! My fat ass falls right on the floor. And I was like, this cot is not for 300 pounds and up.
So a lot of good things are happening.
Okay.
So, in 3 episodes of Recovery Unplugged are screening in competition at Imaginarium. The interview with Brandon, the interview with Thomas, and the interview with Sela Carson, the one whose child was struggling with severe depression.
Yep.
So that's screening, but I don't foresee, and I've got 2 scripts. Me and Missy got 2 scripts in competition, and one in the short, one in the feature. I don't foresee us winning anything, but if we do, it would be nice, but I don't usually, I just don't expect to win.
Okay. So what's the focus as you close out the year and get ready for 2020?
Entering my projects, my script. It depends, it really depends on what happens with Letters to Daniel. And really, if this executive likes The Guardian enough to get in touch with me.
Okay.
So I've already written 2 other scripts, and
well, thank you for jumping ahead to my next question, which is, what are you currently working on?
I've written 2 scripts, and I completed a memoir, which I released the cover reveal of, called The Making of Letters to Daniel. you want to know what went on behind the scenes, what it took to get it made, that's due. I don't know when it's due out. It's currently in edits. I'll get it to, do my part in that in a while, but and I'm working on a novelization of my script, Gemini Rising, and a sci-fi script.
Okay. Good. So you're keeping busy.
Yeah, I have to. If I don't have something to preoccupy, and I can't, the last couple of days I've been crap for brain, because I'm waiting for the movie.
Right.
Valio, I wish, I'm going to send it. I'll send the link to you so you'll have it. It'll be a Dropbox link. I don't know if you can do that through all this. But like when we're going to screen at least one time on G1 NBC. Because you were the key grip.
You're the best.
You were the line producer. Yes.
You just tell me when I'm allowed.
Okay. Because I want to, yeah.
Let it go through the motions, and then you tell me when I'm allowed, and we'll promote the hell out of it and get as many people to watch that thing online as we can. Well,
people all over know about Letters to Daniel. And it's because it's been a 6-year gestation process, from blog to book to documentary to script and to finally movie. It took 6 years to go from there to here, and I think for the people involved, I think if they want to, it's going to enable them to level up from where they are. And I think I didn't know how Megan did it. She just kept going to that well of despair, and it wasn't too much. It was like she did what I wanted her to do. She wasn't over the top. That's always my fear. That's always what my dislike with some of the movies that deal with mental illness, is that they show this real over the top. And sometimes the reality is it is over the top behavior, but for a movie, you have
to do that. You have to embellish it.
And I think people sensationalize it. I don't think I sensationalize what we went through. I think hers was very natural. I think it was more like she just did it through her characterization and script interpretation. That's what actors are supposed to do. Yeah, and she's just very talented. Thomas More said she's the best. She's Knoxville's best kept secret. Wow. And right. She deserves to be working at a rate. She deserves to be doing more than short films in Tennessee. You asked who was coming up to the screening. Jenny is bringing her mom. Megan is bringing her mom. And several people from the Cincinnati area of Ohio who were like extras or were in one scene. The Louisville people. I said it cost $45. And I hate that for them. Sure. Because they really should be rewarded. And I'd like to do a public screen, but because I'd really like to have the distribution details ironed out, I do want to do like a movie screening. Yeah, like a premiere. Rent out a theater. Yeah, and open it up to the public, have people pay. Yeah, and I'd then like invite your actors or guest list, stuff like that. Yeah, and I want them to. There's that. Well, the nice thing is that it's test screening at Imaginarium, and there's a cake that has the poster on the top of it. Is the top, and we're going to get some deli trays and some chips and dip and some food people can eat. Because the screening, they gave me 11:50 a.m. I'm like, can't you just keep it at 12? Is it really necessary to kick me into the a.m. hours? But they always, I don't wake up before.
Oh.
That's nothing. They scheduled the Recovery Unplugged screenings at Sunday at 10 a.m. Ain't nobody going to be in there. Everybody's going to be hungover from Saturday.
Right.
So it'll just be me. At 11:30, I got a.m. I have to teach a workshop.
So any closing words on like advocacy and mental health and avenues for that? All of your work can go towards that. This project in particular can go towards that, but you're also just kind of an outspoken advocate by yourself on reducing mental health stigma and teaching and showing people how to use.
I saw it put somewhere. It says, "Let's call stigma what it really is: discrimination."
Yeah, it's people that are too stupid to learn about someone else's mental health. Sorry.
No, my mom was going to bed.
Oh, bye, Mom. I'm surprised your cat didn't bite you at all today.
Where is he?
Where is he?
He was here earlier. I was petting him when you had me on mute.
Oh yeah.
During the trailer, he started to look back.
Any new avenues or thoughts or things that you're going to be doing around advocacy?
Well, the Guardian that I was discussing,
Mm-hmm.
it confronts mental health stigma within the Christian faith.
Very
it
good.
shows where it's okay to believe in God and Jesus, but that some people have a really twisted interpretation of it. And that shows the danger of it, of stigma, out of control stigma.
Okay.
And fear.
Okay. All right. What's the last best thing that you had for dinner? So not the last thing you had for dinner, the last best thing that you had for dinner, and or what's your favorite?
Okay, last best thing I had for dinner was Texas Roadhouse, and I had ribs and
Where they fall off the bone?
Yeah. They were good.
Okay.
And a sweet potato with caramel and marshmallows and and what else? I had something else.
My family loves sweet potatoes, and I could take every sweet potato in the world and put it down in the trash. Like, sweet potatoes are so gross and disgusting.
Oh, and I had chili. That's the other thing I had. Was chili with it.
Do you do spicy food, like spicy chili, or just kind of regular, flavorful?
I like spicy, but there's a reason why I take GERD medications. Acid reflux can be a bitch.
Hey, we're getting into the TMI section of tonight's interview. All right, so anything else? Any shout-outs? Any other kind of recognitions or any pieces of gratitude?
Everybody who worked on the set, or somebody messaged me. Oh, I think guess what?
What?
My movie just got here.
Play it. Let's play it right now. Let's watch it live.
No.
All right, everybody. Amy's got to go watch her movie. Thank you so much for your interview. This is Recovery Unplugged. We'll be back soon. We won't be here anymore in October.
The podcast should continue, but I'm going to try to get some more guests together and start into say at least another 10 guests so we can go host another.
That sounds good. So let's look for season 2 of Recovery Unplugged, and we'll let you guys know when that is.
Okay.
Good luck, Amy. I hope this movie rocks. I know it's going to. Thank you so much for coming on tonight, and we'll talk to you all soon. Don't just smile. Say bye to everybody.
Bye.